Now, most men, they wait until their life is falling apart before they actually do something to change. They have to wait till it hits rock bottom. Unfortunately, I speak with so many men and they get to a point where their relationship, the partner's walked out on them, and then they sit there going, oh, I should have done something before, like we were talking about this. They could see that it was declining, but it wasn't enough action for them. You know, and it really pains me because the pain of staying the same needs to be greater than the pain of change for us to take action. So most times that pain of change isn't big enough, the pain of their current situation. So my advice to you first and foremost is don't wait until your life is bad. Don't wait until your life is rock bottom before you're working on yourself. It's time to take control now. And this is exactly where to start. If you've never done any personal development journey or work before, this is where to start. If you are on a personal development journey, these 5 things are still going to be very useful for you. So it's going to suit you wherever you're at. Hey, it's Brendan. Welcome back to the video. If you're not working on yourself right now, things compound. We pick up all of these limitations and stuff from childhood and they just compound bigger and bigger and bigger. And they will get to a point, and that's why so many men have a quote unquote midlife crisis. Is this because there's all of this stuff that's been programmed that gets compounded under the surface, and then something happens in our life. Now, if we want to make sure that doesn't happen and prevent that from happening, we have to start working on ourselves. I was just fortunate enough to have my, I suppose, rock bottom point fairly young. I was about 24, 25, and that was the time when I really didn't want to be here on this planet anymore, and I almost wasn't. And that was the point for me where I had to let myself get to that point for me to actually start changing. And my advice to you first would be, don't allow yourself to get to that point, first and foremost. Also too though, we have to understand that everything's happening in our highest good. Everything is always working out for us. It may not seem like it at a time, and I understand that, you know, when you're going through things, you might not be able to see it like that. You may not understand that. But if you have this awareness that everything is always working out for you, everything's happening in the highest good, and I get that, you know, there's things that you look at in the world or maybe in your own life and you're like, that isn't possible. But I just invite you to maybe take a different outlook and take a different perspective on things and ask yourself a better question rather than why is this happening to me? Have a more curious tone and be like, I wonder what's going on in me to create this for myself. Quality of your questions will change your life. So I want you to actually make a decision to start growing before you start and go down to hit rock bottom. Now, if you're at rock bottom now, awesome, you're dangerous because you're hungry. Hey, it's Brendan. Quick interruption to your regularly scheduled video. I want to let you know of an opportunity that you have to go even deeper into this work together. Now, if you have not yet, please check out the description down below. And in there, we've got links to both Launch, our 3-day event, and also Ascend, our high performance mastermind. Now, Launch, it's our 3-day event, and it's the most ruthlessly effective event to change your brain, for you to become more aware of the subconscious programs and beliefs that have been holding you back, and to teach you the tools, the techniques, and the processes to dramatically transform those programs and those beliefs and literally rewire your brain. Again, Launch, it's our 3-day event, and we run them 5 times a year. We also have Ascend, which is our 12-month high-performing mastermind for men who are committed to their growth and who want to totally recreate themselves. I literally want to send you a new birth certificate in 12 months' time because you've grown that much. So if you're a man and you want to go fast, you want to go big, and you understand that you don't want to put off living life at your potential, and you don't want to hold on to any unnecessary stress, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, or suffering, and you want to be liberated from those habits of thinking and live life to the fullest. So check out the links in the description, take a look at the program information and the amazing success stories from the men just like you who have gone through some of the programs, and I'll see you on the other side. And now, let's get back to the video. When I first started my journey, I suppose, I'm not saying a journey, but when I first started down the path of personal development, I felt so overwhelmed. I'm like, what should I do? Should I do this? Should I do this? And I was looking at all these books and I was like, I want to read all of these books. But I just had to take one thing at a time, and I was unsure, and I was trying to find the right thing. I was like, what's the right book for me? What's the right course? What's the right program? And honestly, I kind of felt like I was a bit of a fake. I'm like, who am I to be doing personal development? Like, you know, who am I to be reading these books? But I obviously got over it. And these 5 things that I'm going to explain to you today, these are the things that if I went back in time, these would be the first things that I did on day 1. These are the things. So the first one is to build radical self-honesty. We've got to stop lying to ourselves about where we're at, about what's going on in our life. You know, you've heard the saying, the truth will set you free. It will. But first, it will piss you off. And this is why so many people get butthurt. This is why so many people take offense to things, is because they hear the truth and they know that it's true and it triggers them and they don't want to accept it and they don't want to handle it, and so they bounce back, and that's why they don't like people. So the ones who speak the most truth in this world generally cop the most hate, because so many people are not willing to accept that truth for themselves. And it will piss you off. You know, the first time that I heard things that I was doing and it used to get to me. It used to piss me off because I knew it was true and I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to acknowledge it, and it would annoy me. And this was before I started working on myself. I remember in one of my first early relationships as a late teen, early 20-year-old young man, I could probably say. And I was like doing things in relationships, and my ex-partners would say things to me and I'll be like, I know that that's true, but it would piss me off, right? So the truth will set you free, but it will first piss you off. And so this is where it's like, you've got to be really honest with yourself. You've got to get to that point. You can ask yourself amazing questions, but if you're not willing to allow yourself to get to a level of truth inside of yourself that's going to allow you to change, you never will, right? You've got to allow yourself to go there. You've got to allow yourself to be super honest with yourself. Have a set of questions where you ask, you know, how's things going? Check in on yourself. Self-audit. A lot of our programs, we have a self-audit, a self-assessment, self-inquiry. It's about finding the answers, finding what's true to us. You know, we make up so many stories inside of our mind that are not true, and justifications of why we're doing it because it makes us feel better, or why we're not doing something. But that's all they really are. They're just a story and just a justification. And if you can be truly honest with yourself and be like, you know, are you really giving your all at life? And if you say yes to that question, you're in a place of denial. You know, you can always do better, always. Right? Now, in the moment, you probably do the best that you can at that time. But looking back, you can realize you can always do more. There's always more. You've always got more inside of you. You can always do better, which is amazing because you have so much more to grow. But the truth is that you need to get truthful with yourself, because the truth will set you free, and build that radical self-honesty within yourself. Now, without that first one, you won't be able to get the rest of the 4. So that's the first step. Be super honest with yourself. Am I happy with where I am in life right now? You know, what's not working in my life? If I'm truly honest with myself, what do I dislike, don't like, judge, disown, hate about myself? You know, and not in a place of depreciating yourself, but just being honest with yourself, being like, I do this and I don't like me doing this. I do this and I don't like doing this. I do this and I don't like doing this. Or I never seem to be able to do this for some reason, and I don't like it that I can't do this. Or I'm not allowing myself to do this. And then you're getting that list of those things that you are getting truly honest with yourself, that's going to allow you to change. You need to become honest with yourself rather than just putting it under the rug and putting your head in the sand, because you'll never be able to fix anything then. So radical self-honesty. And it wasn't until I truly went within for myself, you know, I knew those issues that were going on in my life were there, but I chose to ignore them. I knew that deep down, I knew they were there. And this is the same thing too. I hear some men say, oh, my partner's just all of a sudden, she's come out, she's been cheating on me for years. And I'm sitting there going, bullshit. You didn't know anything. Like, you can't tell me that someone was cheating on you for over 2 years. There's a specific example that I'm talking about, a guy I spoke with. And he was trying to tell me, he was trying to argue with me that he didn't know a thing. And I'm like, so there was no reason that there was nothing at all. Like, you know, she always went to work, came home on time. She never spent any time, you know, doing other things or being somewhere without you really knowing. Or she was, you know, went for extended shopping sprees or something like this. Or she went to the shops and came back with nothing, you know. And then I could see the cogs started turning, but then he wasn't allowing himself to be honest with himself, because I could see it. I could see things, and I could see it in him. He realized it. I saw it in his eyes, and I saw it in his face, and he realized. But then he tried to justify, and he wasn't humble, and he wasn't honest with himself to allow himself to go, you know what, I did know, but I just wasn't willing to acknowledge that. And I just said, you know what, come see me whenever you're ready. Because you're not ready right now, you're not really ready to accept the truth. And the truth is gonna piss you off. And until you're ready for that, keep living in this way, and you're gonna hold resentment to her, but that's only hurting you. So whenever you're ready, come back to me. It wasn't long before he came back. So sometimes we need this, right? And this is why it's really good to have people around us as well that will lift us up. I'll get to that in a second. So journaling, self-audits is one of the best ways to get truly honest with yourself. And just be mindful that you don't want to do it in a self-depreciating way. You don't want to beat yourself up by it. You just want to get radically honest with yourself. That's the key point. And so after you now have built that radical self-honesty, we go on to step number 2, or the second thing, is to create a daily discipline ritual. Discipline is freedom. I talk about discipline a lot because I honestly believe it's one of the most powerful things that you can build. It's the discipline to keep following through, to do the things you say you're going to do. It's a discipline to stay consistent, because anything in life that you want to achieve, you just got to stay consistent at it. Like if you want to be successful at anything, you just have to be consistent, and you need to have the discipline to be consistent. So I honestly believe that discipline is the gateway to success in any area. When I say success, I don't necessarily mean, you know, just monetary or financial or career-wise. I mean in every area. You know, like a mother who has 2 amazing kids, and she's an amazing housewife, and she looks after her family, and that's what she's driven for, and that's what she feels like is her mission or purpose at the moment, then she's a success. Just as much as the successful businessman who's making $100 million a year. They're both a success, it's just in a different form. So your success is different, and it comes from developing a daily discipline ritual, right? And so if I use those 2 examples, the mother, she has that discipline of doing all of the daily things for her family. Now, the $100 million CEO, he's doing the daily disciplines that's keeping him at that level, that's getting him to those things. There's all these things that he's got to keep doing consistently to get to that point, and exactly the same with the mother. So it comes down to daily disciplines. So start with 2, 3, maybe 4, depends where you're at. If you are just starting out and you don't do anything in terms of growth, learning, working out, anything like that, start with, I would say, 2 or 3. Now, if you're already doing some, maybe just add another extra one to it. You don't want to start too soon. So many people, they do this, and you see it all the time. People go from never working out or haven't working out for ages, and they're like, right, I'm going to go every single day this week, 5 days a week for, you know, from now on. Or even twice a week from now on. Twice a day from now on, I mean. And so I'm like, you haven't even been going. So what makes you think you're going to be able to do 5 days in a week if you haven't even been able to do 1? They're like, oh, I'll be able to. And then, you know, a few weeks later, they fall off the bandwagon, or they're too sore, or they do themselves an injury. So start small, slowly build it up. Once you can prove to yourself that you can stay consistent with 1, add another. Once you prove that you can stay consistent with 2, add a 3rd. Once you can prove to yourself that you can stay consistent for 3, add a 4th, and so on, until you get to the point where those tasks, you don't need discipline for them, you just do them. But it could be like some kind of exercise, going to the gym, working out. I honestly believe that it saved my life, going to the gym. If it wasn't for the gym, I don't know, I probably wouldn't be here, to be honest. Going through some of the darkest times in my life, I used to find peace in punishing myself at the gym. I used to find peace and happiness almost in looking forward to my gym sessions every single day. And that's what got me through the day. That's what got me through the weeks. That's what got me through when I was working fly out through the swings. So I honestly believe that, you know, it's such a powerful thing for your mind. There's a correlation between your mind and your body. And 80% of people who quote unquote say they're depressed don't exercise. And 60% of people who quote unquote are anxious or have anxiety don't exercise. Hey, it's Brendan. Quick interruption to your regularly scheduled video. I want to let you know of an opportunity that you have to go even deeper into this work together. Now, if you have not yet, please check out the description down below. And in there, we've got links to both Launch, our 3-day event, and also Ascend, our high performance mastermind. Now, Launch, it's our 3-day event, and it's the most ruthlessly effective event to change your brain, for you to become more aware of the subconscious programs and beliefs that have been holding you back, and to teach you the tools, the techniques, and the processes to dramatically transform those programs and those beliefs and literally rewire your brain. Again, Launch, it's our 3-day event, and we run them 5 times a year. We also have Ascend, which is our 12-month high-performing mastermind for men who are committed to their growth and who want to totally recreate themselves. I literally want to send you a new birth certificate in 12 months' time because you've grown that much. So if you're a man and you want to go fast, you want to go big, and you understand that you don't want to put off living life at your potential, and you don't want to hold on to any unnecessary stress, anxiety, fear, worry, doubt, or suffering, and you want to be liberated from those habits of thinking and live life to the fullest. So check out the links in the description, take a look at the program information and the amazing success stories from the men just like you who have gone through some of their programs, and I'll see you on the other side. And now let's get back to the video. So there's a direct link between your mental health and physical health, and going to the gym, working out hard, not being on your phone, but just working hard. It trains your mental strength, it trains your mind, it changes your body. I honestly believe it's the best thing that you could do. So get some kind of exercise in, read, educate, learn for at least 20 minutes a day, and maybe some meditation or some breath work or some journaling or some other type of development, personal development for yourself in that there. Now, small wins compound into massive self-respect. The point of this daily discipline is to be able to gain respect for yourself. When you show up for yourself, when you keep doing the things that you say that you're going to do over and over again, and you stay consistent with that, you are then going to build the things that you know are going to help get you to where you want to go. And you're going to look at yourself in the mirror and be happy with the person standing back at you. So many people, they let themselves down, and I wonder why they don't like themselves. Imagine if you had a friend and every time they said something, or you were like, let's meet here, let's meet here, let's meet here, and they were like, yep, let's do it. And then an hour before, they're like, no, I don't feel like coming. And then the next day they go, I don't feel like this. It's no different to you getting up in the morning going, I don't feel like getting up early. I'm going to sleep in and skip the gym or skip a workout. It's no different. Now your friend, if they kept doing that all the time, you'd be like, I don't want to hang out with you anyway. You keep canceling me. I've got no respect for you. You always, let me down. I don't want to hang out with you. So we do that to our friends or to people that are there, and we think very less of them. And then we do that to ourselves, and imagine what we're doing to ourselves. I think you could imagine. So the reason that so many people don't like themselves is because they keep letting themselves down. And you can't trust yourself, you can't respect yourself if you don't keep doing the things you say you're gonna do, right? So that's what the daily discipline ritual really does. Builds that self-respect, builds that self-trust, builds that appreciation within yourself. What appreciates, appreciates. So if you appreciate yourself, if you value yourself, you do the things you say you're going to do. If you respect yourself, naturally you're going to grow, right? Discipline isn't punishment, it's power. When you can understand that discipline is power, that discipline is freedom, you will never go back. I am the most disciplined ever. And I feel like I'm in the best mindset of my life. I'm in the best shape of my life. I feel the best. Everything's just flowing on. I feel like I have the most freedom right now. And it comes to discipline. As I said before, you got to have the discipline to stay consistent to then create success in any area. So that starts with the discipline, and if you just stay with the discipline and stay to your non-negotiables every single day, you're gonna become a success. You've just got to give it some time. Most people don't stay in the game long enough. I heard a quote or a saying once. They said, stay in the game until you win the game. You've got to stay in the game of life until you win the game of life. Stay in the game of relationships and dating until you win that game. Stay in the game of your career or your business or your finances until you win that game. Stay in the game. As soon as you quit the game, you lose. As soon as you stop, right? The only way to lose is if you quit. Just stay in the game until you win the game. So after you've built number one, you've built the radical self-responsibility. After you've now created your daily discipline ritual with your 2 to 3 daily non-negotiable tasks, whatever they might be for you, we go on to number 3, and that's clean your environment. It's so amazing the difference that what happens when you live in a messy environment to a clean environment, just directly. So your unconscious mind is always taking everything in. Everything. It's always taking everything. And so I don't know if you've ever had a messy desk and you just feel like messy, for lack of a better term. You feel like you feel unorganized, you feel a bit scattered, you feel like there's so much going on. It's because literally your environment is showing you that. Your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined, and it's seeing here that whatever's in front of you, and it's going, everything's messy, and it's taking everything in. We don't realize how much that is affecting us. So be very mindful about what your environment is. You know, try and just put some things away. Try and put things in your direct environment that don't need to be on the bench or on the tables. Put them away if you can. Try and keep things clean. Now, I'm not your mother, I'm not telling you what to do here, but I just know how your unconscious mind works. And if your unconscious mind is in a messy environment, then you're gonna be messy in your mind. You're gonna have so much, it's gonna feel cluttered. You're gonna feel like you are suppressed because there's so much junk everywhere. So clear out that. And now I'm also talking about distractions as well, right? Like, get rid of the distractions that's in your environment. It could be junk food. That's a distraction. That's not helping you move forward. And porn, that's a distraction. That's not helping you forward. That's not very clean in your environment. Toxic people, you know, what you surround yourself with and what surrounds you, it shapes you. Did you ever think about that? You know, what is in your external world, that stuff shapes you. The people you're around, the things you associate with, the standards that you set for yourself, the standards that you walk past are the standards you set for yourself. The standards you have around your cleanliness and your hygiene, all these things, they're shaping you, right? Your environment beats willpower every single time. If you can put yourself in a good environment, you'll get there. This is why, you know, some people, they might, if they really want to get in shape, they'll go to like a health retreat, or, you know, I've been to Thailand 6 or actually maybe 5 times now to a place called Unit 27. It's like a strength and conditioning place, and I go there and I train for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and I put myself in that environment, and you're around these people all the time, and they're always talking about health and fitness and eating clean, and you go out for dinner or for lunch somewhere, and you go to a healthy place where you get some good quality food, and no one's drinking or partying there. And that's the environment, right? Because you don't need willpower because you're surrounded in that environment. So obviously we maybe can't replicate that back here when you're at home, but we can do our best. So clean up your environment. You know, I really think the minimalist lifestyle is so good because we don't feel cluttered. But I'm not telling you what to do here. Just clean bits and pieces up that you can. You know, distractions, junk food, porn, toxic people, you know, anything that's in your environment, get rid of that. That's gonna help you feel so much better within. It's gonna declutter your mind just as much as your external space. So those are the first 3 things. Now, once you get those things in order, you're gonna be more open to number 4. And number 4 is surround yourself or get men around you who challenge you. This is the power in brotherhood. This is the power in having a group of mates around you who lift you up, who support you, who push you to become better, rather than pull you down. There's a lot of people where they have friends and even family, and as soon as they start growing too much, they say, you've changed. because they don't know how to say you've grown, or they see you growing and they're either worried about losing you, so they're going to try and pull you back down again, or you're making them look bad because you're growing and they become jealous, consciously, unconsciously, and they try and pull you back down to their level as well because it makes them feel better within themselves. Most of the times they don't even know that they're doing this, these other people. But if you're not surrounding yourself with people who are lifting you up or pushing you forward, then you're going to be surrounding yourself with people who are settling for you to be average and settling and trying to pull you back down again to maybe their level. So surround yourself with like-minded men and people in general who challenge you, who want you to transform, to become better. Isolation is the enemy of transformation. Now, I understand that, a lot of the enlightened gurus and, sages and masters like the Buddha and many people who are enlightened, they generally go off and meditate by themselves or stay in the bush by themselves for years, months and years on end. And I get that, I understand that. However, that's a long way for it. And unless you want to be enlightened, unless you want to get to that point where, you can sit on a rock and have no desires and be fully enlightened, then that's probably not the goal for most people. It's not the goal for me at this point, certainly. But unless you want that, then you don't need to be in isolation, because generally, most people don't have the capacity and this is why solitary confinement is so dangerous for so many people, because they can't sit with their mind because they haven't learned how to train their mind. And so for me, I could sit there and sit in Colorado. I actually really enjoy, I do 10-day silent meditation where you don't talk to anyone, you just meditate for 10 hours a day. And I get to the end of that, I'm like, I don't want to leave, I want to stay here. I'll be quite happy being a monk from then. But then I get back into the world, I'm like, oh, this is what I like. But a lot of people don't have that skill. A lot of people don't have that ability, just because they haven't trained it, to sit with themselves. Their mind will run crazy and they will literally go crazy. So this is what's happening. So don't surround yourself with no one. Surround yourself with men and find men. And if you don't really know who or what to do, just find someone. Just, be open to it. It doesn't have to happen like this, and you don't need to find that group. But just start somewhere. That's the best thing you can do. Just be open, meet someone new. Look online, see what some groups are. Get involved in some men's groups or something like this, and you'll find them eventually. It just might take a bit of time. Sometimes you've got to pay to get a part of these circles. I know every brotherhood that I am in, that's obviously not my own in our programs, I've had to pay to become in those circles. And you become a paid member of them, and then you create the friendships, and you don't need to be in there as much anymore, right? But you still want to be. So you've got to find these people, and sometimes it just costs a bit of money to get there. Your circle is either your ceiling or it's your slingshot. So it's either pushing you forward or it's holding you back. That's the only way that it's going. So maybe you need to have a look at yourself and surround yourself and be like, all right, who am I with? For me, I was in isolation. Now, it was interesting. I had this deep fear of being alone, and I was alone. Most people, the thing that they fear, they're already experiencing, which when you think about it logically, you're like, that makes no logical sense. It's like I fear a snake, but the snake's right in front of me. And so a lot of things when it comes to the things that we perceive inside of our mind, we're already experiencing them. People have a fear of embarrassment or rejection, but they're probably already feeling embarrassed or rejection at some level in their life. I had a fear of being alone, and I felt lonely. I was alone in my life. So it's just a perception, right? The fear. And if you have men around you who challenge you, who help you, who support you, you can talk about these things. You can get them out in the open. Just be mindful that if you do surround yourself with a brotherhood, that it doesn't become a pissy party, that you all just feel sorry for each other and go, oh, that's so bad, this and that. You want them to hold you to a higher standard, and you don't want them to sit in your story and sit in the piss pool for too long. Because if you're there for too long, it's going to get warm and comfortable, and you're going to be staying there, and you're going to be trying to pull everyone else into that place with you, because it's just the way it goes. So once you've done those 4, the next thing, and it may be hard, and this is why it is last because it may take a little bit of time for you to get clear on this. I know for me, when I first started personal development, I really was just trying to get out of my current situation. I didn't know where I wanted to go. But if I did these 4 things first, I would have then gone, I have more clarity now. So number 5 is define your future self. You've got to get really, really clear on who you're becoming. You know, it's like, it's the same as if you put something into a map, Google Maps or Apple Maps. You need to know firstly where you are, and then secondly, you need to know where you're going. And it's the same in life. We know where we are right now. We know where we are to the level of detail. We don't know where we're going. And so how do we get there? And this is why so many people don't achieve what they want, is because they're not actually really clear on where they want to go. They might just have a vague direction. So you have to get super clear of where you want to go in the level of detail that you can explain your current life. So if I said to you, explain to me what your relationship is like right now, or lack of relationship, what your business or career is like, what you do for work or socially, what you do for fun, you know, how's your health and your fitness, and you could describe in detail what your life is like right now. That's the level of detail you need to be able to get to for your future self and who you want to become in 5-10 years time. And even if it's vague for now, still it's better than nothing. So get as clear as you can. Even if it's vague, it's still fine for now, right? You've got to anchor your vision, because if you're not anchored to your vision, you'll be anchored to the past. And wherever your anchor goes, it keeps you there. That's what that anchor is. So if you're anchored to your past, it will keep you there. If you're anchored to the future, it will pull you there, right? This is the point of it. You've got to get really clear on who you are becoming. Chase the man, and anything that you want in life will come to you. It's universal law. If you chase external things, you're not building yourself, and it's going to push them further away most times, and it's going to take longer. But if you focus on becoming the person that's capable of achieving those things, you'll find that they come so much quicker. So clarity creates momentum. Vagueness breeds hesitation. If you're vague, if you're confused, if you're not really sure where you're going, then you procrastinate and you hesitate. Whereas if you have clarity, it's so easy. This is the next step. This is the next step. This is the next step. So get really clear. So that's the 5, and I'm going to just give you this little bonus one because I like to over deliver. Bonus tip is track your wins, no matter how small. You know, you can't measure what you don't track. And I never did this. I was always going through things, and it's only been very recently too, probably within, I suppose, the last 12 months, that I spend so much time on focusing on my wins, because what we focus on expands. If I focus on my wins, I get more of them. If I focus on all the things that I don't have, then I see more of the things that I don't have. It's a simple game when you understand it. And so I have all of these wins that I focus on, because I would achieve something, but I'd still be looking at this future self, this never-ending horizon that's all the way over there. And I would keep going, well, I've achieved one thing, but I still want to get there. I've achieved this, still want to go there. And I was missing out on all the things that I've achieved because I was so focused on going that way. Now, I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing to take our focus off that, but still focus on that. But we have to appreciate our wins and track them. You know, track them like a graph. Be like, cool, I did this, I did this, I did this. You know, the momentum that we get builds that proof that you can do it. It builds the belief within yourself that you can do it, right? Confidence comes from having the evidence that you can do it. It doesn't come from hype. It doesn't come from motivation. It doesn't come from having all the external things around you, or people, you know, jumping on a YouTube video and getting pumped up. Confidence comes from proving to yourself that you can do it. You've got to outwork your self-doubt. And you do that by looking back and seeing how much you've achieved. Being like, oh wow. I recommend that you grab a pen and paper and you go for maybe, like, depending when you're watching this, of course, but I would go to the start, like this year or the last 6 months or the last 12 months, and write down all of the things that you've accomplished, all of the wins you've had, and big or small, it doesn't matter. You'll be so surprised how much you actually write down that you just forgot about, or you just achieved it or ticked off and then went on to the next thing, right? So that's the bonus tip. So to recap, number 1 and first step, build radical self-honesty. Number 2, create a daily discipline ritual. Super, super important. Number 3, clean up your environment. because that's going to influence your mind. Number 4, get around men who challenge you. Create your own brotherhood, create your own community around you. If you can't find one, you may have to pay to get into one, but just have that support group around you. I was very isolated, and that would be one thing that I would have done differently if I went back now with what I know. Number 5, define your future self. Get super clear on where you're going so you can kind of set your GPS to know where you want to go. And then the bonus tip, track your wins. No matter how small, celebrate your wins, track your wins, write them down all the time, so then you're focusing on them as well. So you don't need to have a perfect plan, right? You just need to move. You just need to start. You just got to choose the next step for you. What's the next logical step? You know, it won't necessarily be the right step or the perfect step. Just pick the next best thing, whatever's next for you, and don't look back. Make a decision and make the decision right, rather than trying to wait for them to make the right decision. Just pick a decision, do whatever it's going to do, and make that decision right. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start moving, as I said before. Just start moving forward, taking action. Growth isn't a mystery. It's just a decision away. You are literally one decision away from a completely different life. You are one person away from meeting some person that could change your life completely. You're one connection away from a completely different life. You know, there's so many things. It's just a series of one more things, and you'll be completely surprised on how much just doing those little things can help, right? So pick one of these 5 things, or 6. I recommend probably the 5, because the bonus tip would be more something afterwards. But pick one of these 5 and commit to it. And then when you get that down, do the next one. And watch who you become, right? Watch who you become in the process. Give yourself a little bit of time. Give yourself, it's gonna take time, but probably not a whole lot of time. But just give yourself, even if it takes you 2 or 3 years, that's still amazing, right? No one's coming to save you. Not your mates, not your family, not anyone else. It's on you. You're the only one that can do it for you. But the moment that you decide to rise as a man, the man that you've always wanted to be starts waking up. The man that's inside of you will come out. You've got to choose growth, or you will stay average. It's just the facts. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, 2 things. Like and subscribe. And then secondly, share this video with someone who may help or may need it, and pass it on, pass it forward. And I look forward to seeing you. Oh, and don't forget to comment down below what your biggest takeaway is. Whatever was something that came through for you, I might have triggered something inside of you, you're welcome. But that's something that you've got to own in yourself and learn to love within yourself that you've just disowned. So let me know what the biggest takeaway is, what your insights, your realizations was, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. You made it to the end of the video. You are the true top 1%. Now, don't forget to like and comment below what you got your biggest takeaway was. I love hearing that. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you liked. Tell me what you didn't like, the biggest insight, realization. I read them all, and I like seeing what you got from this. Now, if you'd also like to grab my copy of my free ebook, 4 Rules Any Man Can Follow to Radically Transform His Life, click on the link down below in the description in this video. And if you love this video, you can check out some of the other videos on here, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.